All right, folks. Welcome once again to the weekly safety meeting with Seth McKenzie, Culinary Anarchy, and Mike Wilcher, Best Artist Alive, Tattoo Artist Extraordinaire.
Yes.
This is episode 2, and we've actually been trying to get a game plan together as far as a format for this show. We don't want to waste people's time. So, first question: what are you smoking on today, Mike?
Uh, throughout the show, I'll be taking dabs on some Galaxy strain that, of course, I've grown myself in my tents downstairs. It's legal here in Virginia for an adult to have 4 plants. So, yeah, I've been last couple grows. I had a couple moms and was cloning them. I think I'm done with the Galaxy strain. It was really good. I highly recommend it. But I'm going to start with the strawberry mochi next time. But today I'm smoking on Galaxy. How about you? What are you smoking on?
Well, first off, I've seen your plants. Your plants are absolutely gorgeous. Those of you that
Thanks,
are
dude.
watching the video format of this, you can see these photos are not edited. They are this pretty. As
Yeah,
far as
thank you.
your question to me, I am apparently smoking on a Purple Punch infused pre roll from Stizzy. These things
Oh
are,
yeah.
especially for an indica, these things will put you on your ass pretty damn quickly. So, yeah, if I start getting a little bit hazy during this, slap me around, tell me to go make another cup of coffee. Now, it's fall in Virginia. First thing I got to ask you, because I wasn't able to get back home this October, that trip got booked back a little bit further. Have you been using the pig pit that we built in your backyard last year, Mike?
Well, I'm doing some fence work back there now, so it's about to be moved. And it's still 70 degrees every day, 80 degrees here. So once it cools off a little more, we're going to do something like that. We're thinking around closer to Thanksgiving time. I think we're going to smoke another pig. Maybe only half a pig this time. We'll see. But
Well,
we're probably going to move it next to the new area where we're building that garage too, so that way it can be on its own little flat concrete area too. It should be easier to maintain.
Well, for those of you that are interested in learning how to not only smoke a pig, but actually build a full pig pit, there are instructions. We filmed a documentary last October, America the Strange Part 3 or 4, I'm not sure which one,
Oh
Origins. It's on
yeah.
YouTube, but the full recipe is also right here in the brand new cookbook, Dirty South Farmhouse Cookbook. In fact, that pig that we did is actually on the back cover of the book. So, yeah, it's one of those things that, we've talked about in the past, food and things being from scratch and things like that. It's one of those things where I don't expect everybody to go out and build a brick pig pit, but man, if you got a backyard and you got the space, it really, I mean, I think even last year, it didn't cost us more than $500 worth of materials, and that thing's built to last a couple of generations. I mean, you
Oh,
know,
they'll last forever, dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, me, and Brownbeard built that in literally what, an afternoon between the time it took us to go take his truck, get the
Oh
bricks and
yeah.
the supplies, the chicken wire, the rebar, shit like that. And then, come back. And I really feel like it took us longer to unload the bricks from his truck all the way
Hmm.
through your backyard and then set them up. It wasn't a difficult process. And like I said, I mean, that thing put out one hell of a pig that year. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's a nice setup.
well, again, folks, if you want to learn more, Dirty South Farmhouse Cookbook, it's available on the website and on Amazon. So, what do you have next, Mike?
Well, I've been thinking about. Oh yeah, so sorry, those dabs are good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what's going on out in San Francisco with you?
Uh, Busy week. I actually got to turn a friend of mine, he runs a coffee shop, onto the simple beauty of an air horn. And I don't know if you
Yeah.
realize this because here's the thing, when you have people that are not customers that are hanging outside your business, they won't leave, you don't really want to get involved, but at the same time you do have to get involved. And I've been in this situation before, and I had to brainstorm. It was a particular place in Seattle, and I was having issues with my back alleyway and things like that. And so what I realized, and same thing I told this gentleman, is go on Amazon. You can, for about 20, $25, buy an air horn that blasted 120 decibels. And you know what 120 decibels sounds like. It's a
Yeah,
lot. So,
that was like the exhaust on my Subaru.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah,
again, it's one of those things where modern problems require modern solutions. So I think that he was rather happy with that idea. It's going to be interesting next time I go out to the coffee shop to see him blasting that thing. But then we had Phil Lesh died. I was down to the hate when the news broke. And yeah, people were gathered all over the place paying their respects. It was an absolute shit show.
yeah. Speaking of, that was all that poop on the streets in San Francisco.
God damn it. You've been reading the comments on the page again, haven't you? Because that's
Yeah,
so I absolutely love this stereotype because 99% of the time it comes from people that have never actually set foot in San Francisco. And
yeah.
the other thing that I love about this is years ago I was in Arkansas and this dude that had been watching a little bit too many conservative YouTube channels, I guess, insisted that there was an app that people were able to find other people that were willing to poo on them. And I sat there.
Wait. What? Explain that to me again.
This gentleman in Arkansas, he had apparently been watching YouTube videos and he insisted that there was an app that you could download onto your phone and find other people that wanted to poo on you.
Is
And he was telling me this as if it was the gospel. Now, fortunately for me, I had actually heard about the app that he was talking about. The app that he was talking about was a couple of years ago, a couple of, I guess, political protesters put this together as a way to report this kind of thing to the city of San Francisco and get the city put pressure on it to actually do something about it,
I,
which
s- I saw
it
that on the
has.
news. That was years ago. Yes, I remember. Yeah,
Yes. And
yeah.
again, the city has. The city's put together a bunch of bathrooms and things like that, and they're addressing the problem. But I tried to explain it to this guy, and he just didn't understand it. And I'm like, dude, listen, I've been part of the kink community for over a decade now. Even in that community, yeah, no, it's not really. So but the funny thing is, like, you've been to San Francisco several times over the past, what, 3 years. I take you
Yeah.
all over. We go to the Mission District, we go to the Castro, we go all over the place. We go over to Oakland, Lake Merritt. And I can honestly say, now, we were just in New Orleans. I love New Orleans, but
Yeah.
where have you seen more human poo when you travel? I mean, every single city.
Oh, there was a surprising amount in New Orleans, and I travel a lot. But like,
Yeah,
that's something you get used to in a lot of like big city travel. Is like,
I'll never get used to it. It'll always be one of those things where I'm like,
uh,
yeah. But it's just like I said, this stereotype that's coming from all of these people that have never fucking set foot in the city of San Francisco, and that's like the most common
well,
comment.
I got an important question for you now. Actually,
All
not
right.
trying to go too far off topic. So that's not what that app is for. The
No,
app doesn't do that.
no. I don't even know if that app exists anymore, but
Well,
no,
that's what I was gonna ask. Like, you think we could make any money off an
no.
app that does do that?
I'm not putting my name. No, I'm not
Doesn't have
gonna.
to be just San Francisco.
No, I mean, I like your entrepreneurial, mindset,
Well,
but
if it's already got the publicity, people are already mentioning it. Like, now we just plug this thing in, dude. I mean, we don't want to waste this business opportunity here.
no, it would end up crashing like Grinder at the Republican National Convention a couple of
Oh,
months
I know
ago.
who the market's going to be. Like,
We all know who the market's gonna be.
yeah.
That's
No,
like that's the thing that these folks seem to obsess about. Like, I could literally post a photo of anything from San Francisco, and if it's Mitch, then like Chuck from fucking Nebraska will comment and show us the streets. It's like the streets in full view of the photo. Like, I'm not gonna go around looking for this stuff just to prove your little bullshit stereotype correct. Like, it's a beautiful city. That's why so many people want to live here. That's why we have a housing crisis, is because so many fucking people want to live in San Francisco. So if it sucked that much, I mean, come on. Like, it's too crowded for me. That's why I live in Oakland. But yeah, I just every single time it cracks me up that people that are on a no-fly list seem to think that they know everything about the city. And one other thing that I really do have to emphasize though is, and I may be wrong about this, but from what I've heard, it was actually the Haight Ashbury Free Clinic back in 1967 that was actually the first medical center to treat addiction as an actual disease and not just a character defect or personality flaw, but to actually treat it as a medical illness. So the city has always been progressive in the way that it's handled this kind of thing, the homeless, things like that. We're not perfect, but we're also not trying to criminalize this kind of behavior when it's kind of society's fault in a large part. So I'm not saying the we're doing is perfect, but it's definitely not the Mad Max dystopian shithole
No,
that
no,
these.
no. I'm a firm believer that treatment is the answer. Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Stuff like that. You can, yeah.
Oh, exactly. But these people, it's amazing how quick to judge and quick to condemn other human beings. And that's, one of the things that I've always looked at is that's why a lot of these people have ended up in these situations because people stopped giving a fuck. It was this weird dude that had an undiagnosed medical condition that was shunned. And then he ended up using drugs because of this. And then because of a lot of different things happen to put these people here. They all have stories. They were all somebody important to somebody else. And because people just didn't give a shit because we don't have, treatment, we have this stigma against mental health. We have this stigma against, addiction, things like that. Because people wanted to
Hmm.
turn their backs, that's why we have these massive problems. And that's why we're having to face them head on right now, is because they're getting to a point where we don't have a choice in turning our back anymore.
Yeah.
So, anywho, on to the next subject. What do you have going on, man?
I actually didn't have time to put my pants on this morning. I mean, I know I looked well dressed and hair up, but
What?
keep
I actually fucking took
sitting
a
on
shower
my
and put
balls.
jeans on.
Yeah, the leather chair is really weird. I keep accidentally sitting on my balls. It's terrible.
So, you haven't been using the pit, but you guys just went out for steak the other night. Okay. What did you get? I got to ask this as the chef.
Well, what I normally get, I prefer like a strip, like a New York strip. Julie prefers like normally like a T-bone or like a bone-in section, whatever they have up there. But
Thank God.
yeah, well, she's from Oklahoma City, so she doesn't allow me too much like BS or to overpay for cuts that aren't as good as everyone thinks they are.
Well,
Wow, what do you normally get? Are you a filet mignon man?
I hate you so much right now. No, that's the rant that I'm about to go on. No, answer your
Well,
question first off. Give me a good seared New York strip, no more than mid rare. I'm a simple guy, but yeah, good blackened New York strip, simple as hell, salt and pepper both sides.
yeah,
2 minutes.
very much so on the seasoning. I
Yes,
agree. That's the most
exactly.
common sin is just to over seasoning on a steak that's already going to be fine if you cook it correctly.
No, but the thing with the filet mignon, and I'm going on this rant for not only myself, but just about every other chef that is going to be dealing with this shit over the holidays. Because let me demystify the whole filet mignon thing for you and everybody else listening.
Hmm.
Filet mignons are not expensive because it's a good cut of meat. It's not. It's a trash cut of meat, in my opinion. The reason it's expensive is because it's the smallest cut of meat on the cow. It's the rarest, but just because it's rare,
It's his wiener, right?
no, it's not. It's a very, very tender piece of meat. But here's the thing: it has no fucking flavor in it whatsoever. There is no fat in this at all.
Hmm.
And what happens, and every chef on earth will back me up on this, okay? Because the holidays roll around and you got the people that don't ever go out to eat. It's a special thing. They don't know shit about steaks and
Hmm.
they want to live it up. And so everything else on the menu is 25, 35 for New York, T-bone, whatever. And then they see the filet mignon and that's like 50 something. And they think, oh, because it's so expensive, it's got to be really, really good. No, there's no flavor to it, which is why most of the time you'll see them wrapped in bacon or done with some sort of fucking sauce because the cut itself doesn't have any fucking flavor to it. And then these people also, they're the same ones that, they order it well done. They don't, again, you can look at a ticket and be like, oh yeah, these folks don't go out to eat fucking ever. And then you can also look at another ticket and be like, oh hell yeah, these are folks that I want to hang out with. And chefs do judge you on what you order every single time. We are judging you and we're
As you
talking
should.
shit about, yeah, well, and
As
we're
you
talking
should.
so yeah, no, the filet mignons. I feel bad for the legions of chefs this holiday season they're going to be having, and I'm going to tell you right now too. If you're ordering anything over a medium filet, we par cooked that motherfucker, and it's been sitting and waiting for us to finish it because we're not going to spend 45 fucking minutes making you a well done filet mignon. We're not going to do it. So
Yeah, it doesn't sound like fun or, yeah, worth it.
no, but speaking of the holidays coming up, just as another
Hmm.
little side note, I know I've mentioned this on my website before. Take your knives and get them sharpened. I'm telling you, I'm telling the fans. It's end of October right now. Before the holiday rush starts, take your stuff and get it professionally sharpened. And people say, oh, well, you've been doing this for decades. Why don't you take care of your own knives? I do take care of my own knives. I store them properly. I keep them clean. I know how to use a honing steel. But every 6 months to a year, oh yeah, especially right before the holidays when I know that they're going to be getting a ton of use, I take
Uh-huh.
them and I have them professionally sharpened because these folks do this for a living. They're not going to damage the edge of my blade. They're going to have this thing absolutely pristine so that when I'm prepping dozens of different things, my life is way easier than it would be if I tried to sharpen the knife myself and ended up losing some of the edge. I mean, that's how knives wear over years and years and years. So yeah, I think I pay maybe $5, $6 an inch for my knives. Yeah, go ahead and make the joke. But it's worth it because even once I tip the people, I'm looking at
Hmm.
$50 for a chef's knife, and it's absolutely worth how much easier it makes my life when I'm cooking for the holidays. So yeah, you and Julie definitely go. I know you guys are like me. You take good care, you use the sleeves, you store your knives properly, but if you use them at all, take them and go get them fucking sharpened, man.
Yeah, the ones that we're using now are the ones that we got at your book signing still. And
Perfect edge.
yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the line I got. It's such a beautiful knife. It's one that the woman that owns the place that she designed. It's
Tara.
Yeah, it is really nice knife, but that one still is in really really good shape. But yeah, as soon as I need it sharpened, I'm gonna send it back to her.
Quick little plug for Terra Perfect Edge Cutlery. They are an old school cutlery shop in San
Hmm.
Mateo. They have a killer selection of knives ranging in price from, $60, $70 for starters, all the way up to some nice hand forged top line, and they also ship worldwide. You can ship them your knives, have them done. That's where I typically take mine to get them done. Speaking of which, I need to ship mine in. And they also do carry most all of my books. I think I've got to get them a couple of copies of the new ones. But yeah, definitely go check out Perfect Edge, San Mateo, California. Super easy to look up online. I'll put a link in the video. But Tara and the rest of those folks, they know stuff. They are where industry people go. And yeah, I can't say enough
Yeah, not
nice things about
not
that
just
place.
industry people though too. She took the time to help me pick out like a little Sentuku for Julie to start out with, and man, yeah, like I said, her the design on some of those knives that she made are just, yeah, they're nice.
Well, the thing that I got to say about Tara that I love is her and I are very kindred spirits, and the fact that she's passionate about cutlery, she's passionate about food, and she wants to help educate people in terms of if she's able to get you excited about knives, if she's able to introduce them to
Well,
you, if she's able to, then it
anyone
means that,
anyone that takes me out for Korean barbecue after a long book
well,
signing day
I don't think she's
is
going to
good
do
with me.
that for
We're friends
every
for life.
customer. I don't
Yeah.
think Tara's going to take every customer out for Korean barbecue, even though she is a
Well,
lot of
she can
fun
at
to go
least
out with.
tell you where to go. She can at least tell
Yes,
you where to
she
go.
can.
Yeah.
And she can also turn you on to some really good knives because, like I said, she is all about educating people because if she gets you excited, it means you're going to get in the kitchen, you're going to start cooking more, you're going to want to buy more
Yeah.
knives. And, her enthusiasm, you've
Well,
hung
that
out with her, she's infectious. So I
yeah,
love
and
hanging out with.
getting to meet her dad there at the shop too. She comes from like a line of like knife sharpeners and engineers and designers like that. It's
I
pretty
think
wild.
that they've been in business for a long time. I don't know
Hmm.
exactly how long. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those mom and pop shops that we love. But I'm not saying this just because I'm friends with Tara. I'm friends with Tara because she runs a badass knife shop, and
Yeah.
me being a chef, her owning a knife shop, and yeah, it just makes sense. But like I said, I mean, if I'm willing to trust her with the instruments that I pay my bills with, that tells you a lot about her right there. And like I said, she was nice enough to host me for a book signing, carrying my books. Things like that. It's people helping people and kind of going back to the collaborative spirit that I've always tried to host with Culinary Anarchy. I mean, that's why you'll notice that with a couple of small exceptions, I really try not to bash businesses or anything like that. I'd rather spend my time telling my fans about, oh, this one place that I found is really awesome. This product that I found is really awesome because let's face it, man. I mean, there's already so much bullshit negativity out there, man. Like I want to be telling people what turns me on, not what pisses me off. I need to get better at that. I know that I'm not like where I want to be at with that, but I'm working on it.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Well, indica kind of helps mellow me out quite a bit. God damn, you would think after like 3 or 4 cups of coffee I'd be bouncing off the walls, but nah, 1 gram infused Sizzy indica. God damn.
Well, I did start this new business selling crap. You could also check out my other business. There's this app that I just designed and I'm about to release.
Oh God. All right. So, what do we have next on the agenda, Mr. Wilcher?
Hmm. Let's see. We already went over San Francisco. Here, there's not much different going on. It's been, I guess, slowing down a little bit for like the walk-in style stuff in my industry for like tattoo wise stuff, but the appointments are still pretty steady. What's really crazy is, or at least for this area, I'm sure every area's main clientele is different. Tourist areas versus college areas versus like how I work in like more of a military area. But now that so many military personnel are getting, at least from like my area, like the Norfolk Naval Base, and from the Air Force Base where I live right by over here, so many people are getting shipped out over to the Middle East that a lot of my normal clientele is not in the area.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of Navy, a lot of Air Force is moving back. A lot of the Marine Corps here too is moving back and forth.
Well, that's, one of the things you've definitely moved into over the past few years is doing larger scale stuff. And
Hmm.
kind of like what we were talking about last week, industry has gotten so oversaturated and a lot of tattoo artists are, it's kind of a dime a dozen. And so for the average consumer, it gets really, really confusing to, how does somebody go about finding somebody like you
No,
that
like
is actually
the difference between going to get like a walk-in tattoo and then a tattoo that needs to be designed or custom made. It's going to be multiple sessions or something like that.
exactly because it's, let's face it, you can walk in. I got, my
Oh, say,
exclamation point tattooed.
oh, what's the story with that? Isn't that's part of your logo, right?
It is. The logo, a lot of people have asked me about that. So let me just explain a couple of things. First off, the logo is based off of my middle finger tattoo, and it's
Nice.
also a nod to the late, great Hunter S. Thompson. But quick little story behind that. First off, you know, my older sister, when I was probably 4, maybe 3 years old, whatever, she taught
Hmm.
me that flipping the bird meant you were sorry, but only if you were really, really, really sorry. So a couple of days later, I think I broke a piece of my mom's china or something like that. My mother was very, very upset. And as a small child, I was very, very sorry. So yeah, my sister got grounded pretty severely for that. But years later, the reason I actually ended up getting the tattoo is I was having it out with a waitress and I wasn't escalating things. I was keeping my calm and she was it just at some point I mentally snapped and I knew my lunch break was coming up. I also had a friend of mine, this was when I was living in Seattle. His name was Rock. He had a shop a couple of blocks down the street. So I called him up and I'm like, yo, set up your machines. I'm bringing you coffee. I'm coming down there. He's like, what's going on? I was like, I got to get something small done, like right now. Because I knew that I was about to lose my shit. And I go
Okay.
down there. I was like, I need an exclamation point tattooed on my middle finger right now. Here is your coffee. Just do it right now. I've got 45 minutes for I've got to go back to work.
Yeah.
And so I come back into work, and as soon as it was done, like I was happier than I have ever been. And I just walked back in, and you okay, Seth? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing great. I went out and got tattooed. Check it out. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And
So it's
who'd you say did that one?
I believe his name was Rock Hare, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
the
I
portrait
man,
artist, right?
yeah, amazing artist from what I can
Yeah, yeah.
remember.
No,
But
I thought
this
that's who you
was
were talking about. Yeah, that guy's. Phew, yeah, I like his portraits. Old ones. That's a good.
I haven't talked to the dude in
Cool.
over a decade, but he was an amazing, amazing artist. He's probably still out in Seattle from what I remember. But
Hmm.
yeah, he was also one of those dudes that, like, he was only in Seattle like a couple of months out of the year because I think he was like traveling all over Europe doing, shit over there and stuff like that. I
Oh, yeah,
mean,
I'm sure.
and
This stuff's
the
really
guy's
good.
work delivered. But for the average consumer, though, because again, there's so many of these, I don't want to say scratchers, but there's a difference between a line cook and a chef. There's a difference between one of these kids that, yeah, you technically, did your apprenticeship and you're able to do small stuff, but
Oh
you're
yeah.
not.
Well, I also want to point out too that not all walk-in shops are inexperienced because
Oh,
you're
no,
right.
not at all.
There's tourist trapped ones that do put apprentices in line, and sometimes they're more experienced guys are busy, and that's what you get. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but there's also shops that are set up to just take walk-ins where you're getting some super seasoned, like the owner is going to be like tattooing for over 20 years, and they
Yeah.
all keep days open to do walk-ins because they like doing that street shop style. So you just got to do your research and make sure that that's the type of place you're going if you want to do that size walk-in tattoos because there are shops that specialize in that. So you can get a really good walk-in tattoo, but like you're saying, you can also get like tourist trap. Oh, you get stuck with the apprentice because it's small, whatever. Like, yeah.
So, I mean, basically what you're saying is do your homework, spend the time, look at the artist, make sure that, they've been able to do similar stuff and get to know them. Is that, I mean,
Or
don't
even
just,
yeah, just read the reviews, do your research for sure. But like we were talking earlier, before I asked you about the other tattoo story too. But But yeah, the difference between just a walk-in tattoo and then getting like a larger custom or something that needs to be designed or multiple session tattoo is yeah, first off, just like you're saying, or like I was saying, do your research, find out someone in your local area that excels in that style or that even if or look around people that you see. If you see a really good tattoo or something that's in that similar style you like, ask them where they got it. But but once you find a tattooer, just on social media, their website, whatever, they'll have all of that available. Just contact them, set up a consultation so you can talk to them. They'll give you an exact price quote. That way they can draw up exactly how you want for that body area you want, and they'll have it ready by the time your appointment comes up. And then just go in and get the tattoo, and that way you don't get like you're saying, get stuck with someone that does smaller tattoos or but yeah, for a walk-in tattoo though, there's a lot of places where you can get like a really good like
oh,
palm
yeah.
size tattoo as long as you get in there early, like when they're sign up during the day. You don't want to show up like right before close and then try to demand a fucking three hour, 2 hour fucking bang or something.
No,
But
and I mean that's something, I've been to enough shops, I've hung out with you at various shops, and there are some quote unquote dive shops that are absolutely
hmm
immaculate that, that's
oh
just
yeah,
kind of the vibe of the shop, but the artists are top quality that, are able to do. And then let's face it, there are just some like sketchy ass places that you walk in and it feels like a smoke shop almost, and you're
oh
like,
yeah.
ah.
It's funny
But
you said that because that's exactly how I kind of, if they're selling like any kind of bong or
yeah,
anything active, I'm just like, oh no, 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 no.
like you kind of expect to see like some neon crayon sign or whatever the shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually a really, really good analogy. You're right. If it in any way resembles a smoke shop,
well,
probably shouldn't get tattooed there.
because I mean, one of
I've
the
seen a
places,
lot of that actually.
one of the places I remember you working at was like where fucking you were. It was in Seattle, and it was that
hmm
one weird shop, but the owner of that shop was amazing. You seem to have
Oh, Pioneer Tattoo. That's I know that's what you're talking
yeah,
about, right?
and it
It's in
looked outside.
it's in Renton, right outside of Seattle by the bus station. So it's such a good location because at first you're like Renton, that's pretty far
Yeah,
out, but it was right across the street, right across from the train station. It was such a cool, slammed little freaking shop.
yeah,
The owner did amazing. His name's Micah Chikowitz. He did like beautiful, just freehand, full color back piece stuff all the time. That dude was like amazing. Still is amazing. Does great work.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and but I got hired on there at the time because I was still just pretty much the walk-in guy. That I think I don't even tattooing for what like 5 or 6 years maybe at the time. Who
yeah.
knows? But yeah, so I got hired there so they could do their cool giant stuff, and so I could do the walk-ins. But that was a cool shop, man. I like that place. Very busy, like just cool vibe slamming. They did a bunch of good work. It was cool.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it was one of those places that like you walk by on the outside and you're like, what?
Oh,
But then you,
I'll find a picture of it. I'm sure just to yeah, send you. It definitely looked like you could tell it was a tattoo shop because it had a little bit of neon, but yeah, it wasn't like classic tattoo shop. It was right across from a I can't remember the name of the motorcycle club, but it was right across from a clubhouse. So like the area was definitely like kind of wild, but it was a cool spot. Yeah, I liked it. It was busy. Yeah, I mean, plus it's October too now. Pumpkin spice season. You doing anything special
oh dear God.
for
Actually, I am getting ready to go and do a pumpkin spice cheesecake just because there was a sugar pumpkin at the grocery store the other day that just kind of looked delicious.
hmm
But yeah, no, it's funny too because even though I use this, I'll go out of my way to like find the freshest pumpkin I can just because I love being able to do that stuff. But, a lot of people, well, what if you use canned pumpkin or whatever? I don't give a shit. Like, if you want to use canned pumpkin and a pre made pie shell, that's absolutely fine. And, I think we can both agree that a couple of years ago, I would not have taken that position. But now it's one of those things where I'm looking at it going, okay, there are a lot of my fans that for whatever reason, they're not able to spend as much time in a kitchen. And for me to be pretentious enough to be ableist and insist, oh no, you have to do things like that just makes me a douchebag, if you're using pre-cut vegetables because you don't have the dexterity or whatever, that's
hmm
fine. I'd rather you still you know, use canned stock or whatever the fuck it is if it means that you're actually cooking. Use a pre-made pie shell if you don't have time to make one, because if that's the difference between, you buying a store-bought mass-produced pie from like, some shit place or you making it yourself, make it yourself, make it imperfect. It's going to be delicious and learn each time, but like I said, yeah, I don't want to ever be that chef that's like, oh, if you're not doing it like this, then you're trash. It's like, no, like work, get better every time. Well,
So you're
because it
telling me that that's the one difference from the tattoo industry to the kitchen
in
industry?
what in what terms?
You're just not telling everyone they're trash all the time and just
Nah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's plenty of dudes out there like that, man, and that's just not like I don't have the energy to be that angry over dumb shit like that anymore. For one thing, and again, if I'm saying stuff like that, then I'm excluding people and I'm trying to
Oh,
get people to cook.
yeah,
Uh,
no, I completely agree, dude. I 100%. I try to never say anything negative about another tattoo. I was really just joking, but
oh,
there's a
but
lot of people out there that, yeah, I'm sure of both industries that do.
I will say this: you have a poker face, but I have known you long enough to where it's funny to when I listen to people try to bullshit you, and I listen to you, and you're very, very polite, but I can tell by the look in your eye, you're just like, oh, you poor pathetic son of a bitch. And I can tell, but you're always polite. That's what people don't expect from you is how well mannered you are. So yeah, I think that's what catches people off guard about you is they see you, they have this one image of you, and then like you're about as well mannered and soft spoken as they come. I mean, you're not a pushover by any means, but you know,
Yeah.
you're not what people expect, and it throws people off guard. I mean, even those poor women at the coffee shop in New Orleans, man, and we walked in there within 30 seconds. We were best friends with all three, four of those girls at the back.
Oh yeah. I love coffee. I would never, ever in my life offend anyone whose profession is coffee.
Oh, God knows. We went, I mean, I think we both, or at least I went there every day we were in New Orleans. What was it?
That was the yeah, that was the best crepe I've ever had in my life. I had no idea that you could have like I just never had savory crepes, I guess. I've always had like the sweet, almost dessert style. There's no, I mean, what I had like a lox and cheese and it was like, yeah, it was insane. It was, yeah.
Yeah, well, and it was one of those places that, you'd have walked by, but correct me if I'm wrong, and I think I don't even know if we talked about this last time or whatever, but my ability to nose out those places like that, and even Coop's place when we were in
Yeah.
New Orleans, that was one of those things because I remember that night we walked by like what at least five or six other places down Decatur that
Hmm.
looked like they would have been perfectly acceptable. They had jambalaya and they had gumbo and they had stuff like that on the menu, and I was just like, nah, we got to go to this one weird place, man. We got to go to this one weird place, and that place literally ruined fried chicken for me because it was the best goddamn fried chicken I've ever had in my life. And yeah, I think you, me, and there was that one other chick at the bar. I think we were the only three people there that weren't local, to be honest with you. I mean, we walked in there and like the bartender was lecturing one of the customers about how expensive tampons had become. And that was, as far as I was concerned, that was the best fucking meal we had while we were in New Orleans, man.
It was pretty good. Where did we get the no, I mean it was all right. I'm not knocking that place at all. My favorite one was the
Was it the
what was
first
that?
place or the last place that we went?
I think it was the first fine dining place we went.
That would have been Kushan down in the
Yeah,
warehouse district.
that was my favorite, absolute favorite. Like everything from yeah, it's they really have their game together as far as like presentation, service. Like you don't feel rushed because it's so on time and on point. Like it was really good.
My only issue with Kushan,
Hmm.
and this is in no way knocking them because I understand the business strategy. They're in the warehouse district.
Hmm.
Their clientele is comprised of, let's face it,
Excuse me.
tourists like us that are staying in, the Hilton Garden Inn right around the corner
Well,
from that.
no, actually, three of the locals that I asked where to try out to eat all recommended that place and said that they had eaten there recently. So I think
Well,
there was some locals too.
oh, definitely. But my thing with Kushan is the
Hmm.
food was stellar, but
Hmm.
you could tell that the chef was still having to like dial it back. Like he could have gone. The chef is more than capable of going to a 10, but he only went to like an 8 or a 9 just because he knew that
Well,
a lot of his clients.
what did you get?
Um, I got the what the fuck did I have? God, okay, I'm stoned. No, I know I had the pork cracklings that were good. I had the beans and rice, which is absolutely delicious. Oh, and I had the boudin bites. Everything was
Yeah.
absolutely
The
delicious.
Boudin bites out of what you had, the Boudin bites were my favorite. Those might have been one of the best
Oh yeah,
takes on that sausage the whole time we were there. And that,
yeah.
that's crazy to say in New Orleans that that's the best Boudin I had. But I think that their appetizer, and that was probably the best way I had it served there. But I think the best thing I had there was that what's they're named after, that small local pig.
Hmm.
That can't remember what it was called when it was plated. But that's what the place is named after, right?
Yeah.
That small, yeah. Well, that's what I ordered. I was like, yeah, it's named after that place. So try that out. That was freaking amazing, dude.
Oh,
That was insane, dude.
we completely cleaned those plates. I mean, that place was, like I said, and I'm not knocking the
And
place.
well, I was just saying, as far as the service was too, as far as like the way it was set up, it was everything. There was no like dead time period. It was all,
Yeah, no,
and because at that size, you would think that they would have had a line out the door.
I.
They kept the meals down too, even for larger tables. They were moving them in and
Oh,
out
it's
within
like
like 20 minutes. Like it was crazy, but you didn't feel rushed because it was so evenly timed and put out. Like it was
it.
pretty good.
It
It
was
was a
an
good experience.
amazingly well run restaurant. I mean,
Yeah,
I definitely give him credit. All I'm saying is, I would
yeah.
love to go back, hang out with the chef, and just
Hmm.
sit down and say, "Hey, man, I'm allergic to seafood. Other than that, throw him like show me what you got and let him go full tilt." Is what I'm.
Well, they had the open kitchen. Had we have, I'm sure, got a reservation for that little bar area or whatever, we probably could have talked to them while they were cooking because it was a whole open area with all those seats right by the front where they had that huge barbecue pit and then I'm sure other cooking
Well,
utensils or giant smoker
speaking
hole.
speaking of stuff like that, though, I gotta tell you this because I tell you about the Kahlua pork at the airport when I was leaving Hawaii last time.
No,
Oh God, so you'll love this. Okay, I'm getting ready to leave Hawaii. I'm at Kona Airport, and of course, like I'm trying to buy like stuff for the nephews and shit like that. And I
mm-hmm.
go into this one spot, and they got like the pre-made Kahlua pork and rice, and I'm looking at it. And it looks pretty damn tasty. I'm like, not really trying to do Kahlua pork from the airport gift shop
Yeah, I
like
understand that.
right before I have to fly and have a connection, and now like I'm not trying to have that happen or whatever. And the
Yeah.
dude sees me and he's looking and he's like, "Oh, you gonna get something?" And I was like, I'm not too sure." He's like, and he looks at me and he's like offended, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hold on, man, let me have you try a bite." I'm like, "Oh, okay, you're gonna throw the gauntlet down like that? Okay, no problem." And so he goes and fucking heats a piece up for me on the flat top, and comes back to me and like it's like a foot away from me and I can smell it and I'm already starting to get all fucking weird and shit. And
Hmm.
I goddamn near burnt the shit out of my mouth. But let me fucking tell you that what my eyes went all fucking twitchy and shit. And I swear to God, I got 2 plates of that shit and
Oh
sat
yeah.
there. I sat there while waiting on the plane to Honolulu or whatever for my layover. I sat there and fucking put away 1 plate of it then, and then another plate of the stuff on the actual flight itself. It was some of the best
Hmm.
goddamn Kahlua pork that I've ever had. When I go back to Hawaii
Really?
in May, I am making
What airport did you fly out of? What air?
that was Kona. So
Okay. Oh yeah.
yeah, the I can tell you right now, some of the best goddamn Kahlua pork you will ever have is in the goddamn gift shop of the Kona airport.
Hell yeah.
But I swear, when I go back in May, I that is going to be one of. I'm going to get off the plane and make a fucking beeline for that shit and be standing there
Yeah.
grubbing on that while I'm waiting on my bag and going to get my rental car. So yeah,
All
I
right.
think that's probably about it for this week's safety meeting, episode 2. Mike, is there anything you'd like to add before we sign the fuck out?
No, I would just say thanks everybody for listening. Make sure if you're watching us on a social media platform to like, follow, or subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching, man. That's it.
Yeah, make sure at Best Artist Alive,
Hmm.
at Culinary Anarchy, and if there's anything that you want to see us discuss, we are all ears. Very few things are completely taboo and off subject or off topic, off limits to us. Again, yeah, thank you. It's been fun. Cook like you fuck.
Oh yeah, see y'all next time.
Yeah, we'll get better at this, I swear.